Hello and welcome back to the channel. So second anniversary has arrived and so have the new celeb units. And you should know by now that whenever new celeb units drop, it is time for massive hype. Okay, let's just dig right into this banner review and start it off with a bang here with a new Provoke tank, Udeal. This is crazy. Look at that HP value. Oh my god, 150. What? So please keep in mind that this is the max exalted value. So this is when he's reached level 100. And they kind of did this when they released Awakenings. All of a sudden the banner images which show stats that reflected max awakening, and now they're showing max awakening and max exaltation. What do we call it? I don't know, but his HP should still be pretty high, even if you haven't awakened him or exalted him yet. And, you know, I don't know exactly at what pace we're going to be receiving these exalt mats. So I don't know how soon we can count on maxing out a single character, let alone multiple. But in any case, I think he should still have a great HP value. I haven't maxed my copy of Udeal yet. But let's get into the kit here. So once again, we have usable at start provoke skill, but this one comes in combination with an attack break to the enemy. So it's almost like packing in Demos and Griff into one character. And I like to call this compression. We used to call this deck compression in Mobius Final Fantasy. Here, I guess we can call it loadout compression. It allows us to pack more things into the loadout, and that's a sure sign of power creep when you can start compressing things into the loadout more and more. So that is awesome. Now, it's not quite at that level, because this is 30% where Demos has 50. But hey, you know, we can combine them with Demos. We can always do that, and lately, tank teams have been running out of steam and are not so reliable as an attack team in Arena anymore. And with Udeal, I have a feeling that tanking might be back on the menu. So we will see. If you have used him and you want to share your thoughts, please leave them in the comments. And of course, I'll be following up with showcase video. More on that in a bit. So let's continue here. So it comes with an attack break, and if he is using Dark, it will also reduce the critical hit rate of the enemy, and that's a brand new effect we've never seen. And let me tell you, that is effective based on my experience in other games that have had that effect. That is very effective and really debilitates your damage output when you can't crit more than you'd think. You know, there's an entire crit damage multiplier you're missing out on if you can't crit, and no matter how well you built your loadout, you know, even if it's 100 and it goes down to 50, that is not good. Not good at all. And of course, the usual provoke there. As always, there's somewhat of a drawback, and in this case, it's that he's kind of locked to Dark. He is locked to Dark if you want to use that debilitate, but in Arena, Light is kind of the meta right now. We have a lot of strong Light attackers. We have that new Nier Marie sword to use. Of course, we have Sino Saryu, who you almost can't build a team without her, and she wields that Light staff so well. So, you know, there's a lot of Light attackers out there, and he's kind of forced to use Dark. It could still be really good, though. Okay, and then I have a feeling his own weapon will be the best one to wield. Let's take a look. Another weapon here with just crazy high HP, so kind of like his costume. Complements that. And this new type of skill that has an effect when you're using the right weapon type. And this has an attack break, further attack break with pretty good cooldown, 19 for a tank. That's not bad. And then a 15-second cooldown, which is really nice. Defense buff to the party, so you might be able to sneak that in early and improve your own tanking and the party's survivability. Okay, so then Void Boon's always welcome, and then, of course, we want that toughness on our tank, right? And now look, 2 barriers. So that's new as well. Very cool. So I'm stoked on him. He was the main one I pulled for. I always pull for PvP units. So if you need a provoke tank or you want to upgrade your old ones, I think he should do a better job than Griff, but I haven't tested him out yet. You could always use him with Griff, right? The debris is just HP, and I'm pretty disappointed with the debris all around on this banner. Usually at least one of the characters has some sort of broken debris, whether it be Element Boon or Bolt Vigor or something. And kind of bummed because I actually managed to get Sarafa at A5. And no boon debris for me again. Wah, wah. But Vigor. So at least I have a better Vigor chunk. I don't know. But yet again, we have these crazy stats here that reflect the max exalted stat. 10,000. First time we've ever seen that. But like I said, I have her at A5. I have maxed her and she's in the 9,000s. So I think it's pretty similar to the costumes we already have, like Christmas Griff, etc. But that HP value is very high as well, and that can help give her an edge in Arena if you're using her as a DPS turret, which, by the way, she has a new upgraded verve of 50%, the attack to light affinity weapons for the whole party, and I always pair my DPS units in Arena with Sinosaryu and Bloody Gale. Gale wielding the new light sword, and then later the new light sword we're getting. So this could be very effective to slaughter in to the DPS slot on my team with Sinosaryu and Bloody Gale. I'm very excited to try that out. Defense value is pretty high for a DPS. So a tanky DPS with crazy, another one of these crazy multipliers with a 5 hits, and also when you're using light, buff your own light damage. So let's say you start a knockdown with the character skill, now your weapon skills can benefit from that light buff. Very nice. The old Vigor passive, it's pretty par for the course, and it's kind of a bummer that it's not something better, but again, you gotta balance it somehow, and that's one of the reasons the attack stat is so busted. And we talked about the verve, and then a Bold Vigor passive. If you get that third awakening, that will be very welcome. Bold Vigor is great. Cool, and the weapon. So this is great too. There's a slight drawback, but man, we really need new light DPS weapons. And that attack value is really high. So what we've needed was a new light EX weapon that we can just throw on anyone, even if it's off type. But here you kind of get penalized if it's not the right type. You see here, when your character is equipped with their proficient weapon, your light attack damage is increased. So it's kind of like an EX skill where you buff your own light damage, but only if you're a spear user. That's the drawback. So kind of a bummer, especially because in subjugation, often you want to be using off-type weapons to reduce animations, etc. and reduce auto attack chains. And then a self attack buff. So I'm excited about it in general as a new light DPS weapon. We've been really needing that. Of course, we have the Lucid Boon and Vigor passive. Vigor passive is whatever, but great weapon, super strong, and it should still be okay on other weapon users. Cool, so that's how I feel about her. She's kind of the main DPS of the banner. However, Lavanya is also another DPS costume. He's very similar to Sino Akeha because he's a fire user, has a busted multiplier on a 4 hits, and also, so additional when it's fire. And then a self-pursuit buff. That's awesome because often you want to start a knockdown with the character skill and then follow up with the weapon skills. So the weapon skills will take advantage of that, and most likely you buffed him with someone else's pursuit buff right before that, and you're stacking even more pursuit, which we all know is super OP because of the way pursuit stacks. And that should be very strong. Also, we're seeing more of these like really high multipliers, and they make it really easy to cap. But this can be really effective moving forward, as we see defense values increase more and more on the enemy. So think about the fish battle, for example, the fish battle like 6 months ago. You might have opted for Lars, EX Lars, even though he only has a 3 hit, and we have all these other costumes that have 5 hits that can cap, but maybe they couldn't cap against the fish because the fish has such a high defense value, but Lars could with those 3 hits and actually do more damage with the 3 hits. So I have a feeling that's on the horizon. Of course, I haven't tried this new game mode, and maybe we are already seeing it with that new game mode. So it's not something to shy away from just because it's 4 hits. I think these super high multipliers are going to be very useful. I already was feeling that using Sino Akeha the other day, cramming at the end of the subjugation season. She was doing really good work with that stupid multiplier. Okay, cool. So the unfortunate thing here is he kind of nullifies the Bloodless Lavanya. Like, what are they going to do with Bloodless Lavanya? Because Bloodless is already like a fire Lavanya with crit rates, and now this one just completely replaces him. So that is power creep. That is true power creep when old costumes become obsolete because of new ones. So anyway, this one's a head scratcher. Proficiency 70%. Greater chance that your normal attacks will be a 3 chain. 70 is, I mean, usually when we see a training passive like this, it's 5% or 10%. 70? Now it doesn't, and usually it says 3 or more. Here it just says just 3, but 70%. But maybe that's good in arena if you slam him with agility or something. I guess he could be a strong sniper, perhaps. Let me know what you think of the comments, the usage of proficiency. And then his third passive, Valiance, flat attack to the party, which is pretty cool. We're seeing more and more of this kind of like hybrid thing. You know, like it's a DPS character, but they have some sort of party support. Or we see other costumes that are like a support, but they're also a DPS, like Christmas Saryu, for example. And they're kind of like, you know, merging the roles a little bit. Agi Debris, well, you know, that's pretty good. It's pretty good in arena. The attack value, very high. Of course, that's max exalted. And defense, very high. HP, respectable. Okay, let's take a look at his weapon. All right, very high attack, very awesome. And then another one of these specific skills. Each weapon has one. A defense break if you're a fist user. Okay, that's pretty cool. Defense breaks are always useful. And then party crit, that's not really something, it's not ideal, especially 10 seconds. It's just really hard to use, and you should be building for crits with your memoirs, etc., and not worrying about a crit buff. So that's kind of whatever. But with that attack stat and the Blaze Boon, of course, it'll be a great sub-weapon. And maybe you're really lacking on defense break, you know, on a certain wave in subjugation, and maybe you main hand it for that. Maybe. Okay. If you're lacking. Cool, so those are my thoughts on the banner. I'm most excited for the new Provoke tank. Of course, I'm a PvP-focused player myself. However, I'm trying to change that. I'm trying to expand and get better at subjugation and all that. But whenever there's a PvP unit, I pull for it, and here it is. Celeb Udeal, tanking back on the menu. And then, so grateful I got Sarafa. So look out for my showcase video soon. I'm really excited to put together some gameplay showcasing. And once again, I'm going to ask my community to submit footage from their account as well. I kind of like to think of my channel as the community channel. Just the other day, I had Ziggy and Young Jesus on my stream in the voice chat, along with some other community members. I always try to reflect the opinions of the community. I always try to, you know, do a little bit of reading around and research and see what the top players are saying. And in this case, interact with my own community and allow them to have a voice on my channel as well. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, I'll leave a link to my Discord and you can join and hit me up there and submit footage and maybe, be around for the next time I invite my community to join the voice chat on one of my streams or videos. All right, so look for that link in the description. And yeah, so maybe in about a week, I'll post a showcase of these 3. I'm really excited, and I want to hear from you in the comments if you've used any of them yet and how they're working out for you. Especially, I want to know how you feel about UDeal compared to Griff, etc. Cool. All right, those are my thoughts. Thanks so much for watching. As always, if you like what you see here, leave a like on the video and sub to the channel. All that stuff really helps me. I'm still trying to grow over here. It's much appreciated, and I'll see you in the next one.